Hey everyone, how's it going today? We're going to talk about, can you guess? Okay, so, got some figures out illustrating some points. We have this WrestleMania 9 Hulk Hogan. A lot of people hate that one. I got two reasons. One, it's a good representation of the red and yellow. Especially the latter years. And he's got the Wing Eagle belt. That's him. There's NWO Hogan, of course, who was the best heel turn in wrestling, period. Mr. America, which I thought was just fucking hilarious. I mean, I'll be blunt. I just thought it was a hilarious gimmick. So, last Monday on the Netflix premiere of Raw is War, or Raw as we call it now, Monday Night Raw. Hogan came out to a chorus of boos, which is surprising because it's Hulk Hogan. It's the biggest star of wrestling. It's Hulkster. So, instantly, the discourse online was, he's a slimeball human being, etc., etc., etc. A lot of vitriol about Hogan came out. Now me, I think I have figured out what happened, and it's a combination of the main three excuses people are making. One, it was California. Let's just be honest about it. It was California. California leans a certain way, Hogan leans a certain other way. Hogan was publicly endorsing someone that Californians didn't like. Now, stop right there, because the instant you say that, people go, well, so, same with Undertaker. Because, you know, Undertaker did endorse the same candidate. But, I do think the difference was that Hogan was a lot more vocal and a lot more pronounced about it. And going back, I did see a couple of appearances where he came across as very obnoxious about his endorsement. So, the Undertaker's endorsement seemed to be much more mellow, down to earth, which is weird when you consider his character. But he was doing it as Mark Calloway, not as The Undertaker. But still, people knew who he was. But he was not as obnoxious. I'll say it that way. So yeah, there's that. And then, there's no denying the racial remarks Hulk Hogan made. We all heard it. We all know what it was about. And I'm not sure when we decided to let that go, because it was bugged me a lot. I remember when it happened, and it was also right after Bruce became Caitlyn. And I made this joke online. I said, Hulk Hogan's a racist, Bruce Jenner's a woman. I want to apologize to George Lucas for saying he raped my childhood. And of course somebody had to make a serious statement about that, like, you know, Bruce didn't go all the way or something, you know, some stupid shit. But anyway, which was very much beside the point. The point was that, you know, I was very disillusioned by a character I looked up to. Ultimately, somehow, some way, after a couple of years, we just let that go. And I have a hard time believing that it just leapt back up on Monday night. But I think what happened was the combination, and then being in California on top of that. When Hogan was endorsing you-know-who, and there are many people on one side who say that guy is not a person who likes people of color, we'll just say it that way. Try to be subtle because of YouTube. I think a lot of people were remembering, oh yeah, he said a bunch of stuff a long time ago. And then it was kind of like this weird mixture of memory and outrage from the past. That's what I suspect is going on. I'm not positive, of course. I'm never going to claim to be a qualified expert on why crowds react the way they do, but it's just going over everything that has been said. And I don't think anybody from the crowd has ever said anything. Now, I thought the best way to handle it would have been, if this were possible, do the quickest change in the world, go back, and then put on your NWO outfit and be Hollywood. I don't think it was possible, though. You know, that would have been pretty freaking hilarious. But you could tell Hogan was taken back by it. The other one, the other asterisk on this is a lot of people were mad because they knew he was just there to promote his beer. Which, what's wrong with that? JR used to promote his barbecue sauce all the time. I'm trying to think who it was. I thought somebody had a vodka. Oh, yeah, Rock has been promoting his, is it vodka or tequila? It's tequila. Yeah, Rock's been promoting the hell out of that. So I don't see the problem there. I don't like. I'm not like everybody else thinking, oh, they were mad because he was drunk, and I was like, bullshit. Former wrestlers come on all the time to promote shit that they're doing now. I mean, they want to make more money, and so they do some other venture. So yeah, I don't think the beer part was it. I really do think it was a combination of the things I said before. Now, maybe if you do that and then put the promotion of the beer on top of it, yeah, okay, that might have done it. But, it makes me a little sad because I have gone back fairly recently and rewatched a lot of old wrestling. And I still gotta admit, Hogan does hold the crowd in that era. He does. Right up until about, I would say 2005. And he still had a little bit of a hold on the crowd after that in TNA, but nothing like he had before. I think he was in, was it WrestleMania last year or the year before? I think he was, and people cheered like crazy for him. Again, I think we just tried to let it go as much as we didn't want to, and because it was Hogan. And he had that strong of a hold on the crowd. But then after that endorsement, I think people said, nah, dude, nah. That makes that unforgivable now. And I'm thinking that's what's happening. Me, I'm still in the front line of, I try to think of Hogan before 2005. Honestly, it's just better for me. I think about him in those years and, the character he brought to the ring and what he showed on television. And I still think that. And, it's tough because I was really upset when those remarks came out. Really upset. But, with time, I went back and said, man, I really enjoyed a lot of memories with this guy. As much as, we don't want to admit it, there was some really good times and really entertaining moments. And I didn't want to lose those. So I didn't let it end it. And that's a tough thing. How do you separate the artist from the art? A lot of accusations on H.P. Lovecraft. I really enjoy his stories, though. I mean, it's, some people try to make that remark to J.R.R. Tolkien, too. Because he said race and not species. That was a D&D solution to it. I don't know. I don't tend to agree. I mean, I don't think we have enough evidence to say one way definitively or another. And that's the point. And it's like a conversation that should not be approached. Because trying to prove it's going to be futile anyway. But, like I said, separating the art from the artist is a thing I've done a lot in my life. And, I try to attribute it to a different time, a different place, a different mentality, and people weren't raised to be tolerant. And, I've run into real racism. I live in almost the South. So, I run into some heavy duty stuff. And, and then I run into some funny stuff too. A friend of mine in high school, he was, yes, African American, and there was a Klan rally in my town, and he actually walked up to the table to sign up. Yeah, that was hilarious. So this was while we were in high school too. He just like, hey man, it's that. And it was a hilarious moment. So yeah, at that same time, I've seen some of the real stuff, and I do think there are times where people approach racial issues from a place where they have not experienced some of those things, and to them, they get a lot more outraged about it. So maybe that's it too. I don't know. To me, I just try not to let it get to me, or try not to let it be a factor. I try not to let people's politics be a factor, because I am apolitical. I don't care. I've said it several times on this channel. It doesn't matter what animal you invite to your dinner table, they will shit in your food. Be it a donkey or an elephant, it doesn't matter. And that's an infuriating thing to me about society. And it's also an infuriating thing to me about people and how they make everything into some sort of political aspect. And I do feel this is what's happened here, is that we've made this into a political aspect. And it's like, can we not bring politics into everything? Because we let it go with this guy. And that is a strange occurrence. We let it go with this guy. But we can't let it go with another guy. I also find that rather hypocritical. If it's like, if you're just gonna boo people for who they endorse for an election, be consistent. Be consistent. But that isn't the only reason. Again, I think it reminded people of what had happened in the past, and it was like, oh yeah, that was not good, and people got really upset. But yeah, and not smart to having it in California. I'll say that much. Not smart. Some people said if it was in Florida, you would have seen a different thing, and I can believe that. This election was pretty raw and pretty rough, and people are saying this and saying that about the future of the country, and I'm just like sitting here going, come on, man. It's the same shit, different day. Not same shit, different year. It doesn't... Am I cynical? Yeah, I am. Very cynical right now about all this politics and all this, we gotta hate somebody because they don't think exactly like us. Well, you know what? That's weak sauce. What used to be fun in my generation, I have to admit, was sitting down with people and having discussions and not agreeing on every point, and still able to find some ground to talk about it. Used to be really hot stuff in my college years, and it would be back and forth about several issues, and it could get hot, but we would cool down. Rarely on occasion there would be one that somebody says something so outrageous you kind of can't come back from it. But a lot of times, a lot of growth came from those discussions on both sides. It was pretty interesting. And it was a different time. It was a less polarized time. And I guess that's the problem. We're so damn polarized. And I guess part of it is because, we got more echo chambers than we used to have. And part of it is, I don't know, there's both sides of the aisle become unscrupulous. They just want to get all the power, and then they just do nothing with it. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I don't like talking politics on this channel, but I did want to talk about this because I still like Hogan. I like the Hulk Hogan character, played by Terry Bollea. Nothing's going to change that. Well, almost nothing. I mean, you know, if he committed mass murder, I would change it. But, oh, too soon? Yeah, too soon. Yeah, I mean, I still like Hollywood. I still watch NWO stuff to this day. I mean, especially that first year. Wow, that was fire. You know, you just can't beat that stuff. And it's really tough because I saw a meme today, and I'll try to put it up here if I can find it again. It said, you either live long enough to die a hero or see yourself become a villain. I thought the irony of that was they put Macho Man and Roddy Piper up. And of course you see Macho Man and Roddy Piper up here. Which I think is hilarious because Macho Man was he healed and heroed back and forth so damn much. I can't say that he died a hero. Piper, yeah, I mean, he did the same thing. You know, it was, and the other one I had was Warrior, which I thought was really weird because I don't think Warrior ever wasn't the hero. He never did a heel turn. So it's like, okay, what are you talking about here? Okay, well, maybe that one makes a little more sense. I don't know. Well, then again, he had that diatribe for a while that he was talking really crazy on his blog. You know, it's maybe that was his heel turn. I'm not sure. Anyway, but you know, Rowdy, I mean, he was the worst heel ever, the most hated man in America at one time, but was cheered after that. You know, it's just like, okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The meme didn't make any sense to me. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't float. You know, it doesn't make sense because I get you're trying to say Hogan's become the villain, okay, but Piper and Savage were villains too, and so that doesn't hold water. Anyway, unpleasant subject. I wanted to talk about it though, get my feelings and thoughts out because, you know, I'll always be a Hulkamaniac. That's just it. I'll always be a Hulkamaniac. Not that I ever said my prayers, I ate my vitamins, and see, I can't even remember the rest of it. But, you know, I was just always thought it was a really fun time. Saw Hulk Hogan several times live, both in the 80s and in the 90s. Yes, as Hollywood as well. Very fun times. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Just had to say something about this whole Netflix and boo thing. Maybe that's what I'll call it, Netflix and boo. Alright, that wraps up my rambling on the Hulk Hogan situation. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to do all that YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, comment, you know. I know we touched on politics, and we can keep it non-political in the comments. Thank you. I just try to avoid politics as much as possible. You could not dance around it on this topic. I mean, I think I did a good job of not getting too specific, but you know what I'm talking about. So, alright, there we go. That wraps it up. Thank you. Have a good one, guys.